Hey, yo, welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. This is bad. Oh my god, oh my god. Chat, today's live stream, you gotta stay here. This live stream, you gotta stay here. This is bad for the Bulls. It's about to get worse. This is looking really, really, really bad. So, this is going to be one of my most important live streams. This one right here is going to be one of my most important live streams in regards to, analyzing Bitcoin, predicting the upcoming price action, predicting the upcoming price targets. This one right here, guys, is going to be very simple, straightforward. And I can tell you right now, it's not looking good. This is not looking good. But welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday. I can tell you right now, it's not an amazing Friday for Bitcoin. It's about to get dark. But welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday. If this is your first time right here, hit the subscribe button, right? Hit the sub, hit the like button. We have a cryptocurrency market to talk about. Of course, if you are looking for, bullish long-term price action, this is not going to be the one right here. Absolutely not. But if you are looking for an honest price analysis, if you are looking for an honest conversation, honest price targets, this is a place right here, right? I'm not here to change my opinion on this market. I'm not here to change my opinion to fit my narratives. I'm not here for any of that. I'm here to analyze this market. And what I'm about to share with you guys, this one indicator that I'm about to share with you, this one signal that has never been wrong. It's very simple. I'm going to share a target with you, which is $65,000. It is going to shock you. I don't care if you're still bullish on this market. We are in it for some bad price action. I mean, I don't know if it's bad. It's just a bear market. We've seen bear markets in the past. We have seen bear markets in the past, and this one right here is no different. But when it's a bear market, we have to call it exactly what it is. If the price is more likely to go down 40%, we just have to accept the reality. All right? There's no reason to sugarcoat it. There's no reason to try to run away from the reality. But this right here, this one signal that I'm going to share with you, this one signal that we are about to confirm in the next 48 hours, this one has never been wrong. It is 100% accurate. I'm going to show it to you guys. And it is predicting that Bitcoin is going down to $65,000 over the next couple months. This one signal is predicting that we have a Bitcoin that is going to $65,000 in the next couple months. So, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday. Of course, not as amazing if you're bullish on Bitcoin in the short term. Of course, not as amazing if you thought recent price action was positive and if you thought that was the beginning, of Bitcoin going back to its all-time highs. But it's fine. It is fine. If you tune into these live streams, if you tune in to any of my recent live streams, you know that this has not been a bullish market. And recent price action was a fake out. That was a trap. But welcome back. I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday. We have a cryptocurrency market to talk about. We have a market to analyze. If you have any altcoin, if you are wondering what your altcoin is more likely to do over the next, over the next couple of months, ask me, right? Ask me. This is why I'm here. Zcash. I told you guys Zcash was not looking good. You look at Zcash right now, $325. Once we lose, and we already are losing it, all right, you're taking out these lows right here, 330. You're looking at a Zcash that goes back to $300. Once you lose $300, you're looking at a Zcash that goes down in the low 200, higher $100 range. So, yeah, it's crazy out here, right? It is crazy out here. Once again, I have this Bitcoin signal that is 100% accurate throughout Bitcoin's entire existence. Throughout Bitcoin's entire trading history, I have this one signal that has always been accurate, and it is right now predicting that we're going down to $65,000. This one Bitcoin signal, guys, the signal is going to confirm in the next 48 hours because we got to wait for the monthly to close. And we are more likely are going to close below the support that is going to give us the signal. That signal is predicting the BTC is going straight down to $65,000. Of course, it's not going to be a straight line. In the short term, there's going to be some bounces. There's going to be what we call bear market rallies. But you got to get away from those bear market rallies. You got to stick with, the bigger trend. And right now, it is not looking good out there. Absolutely not, guys. So, if you guys would just give me a second, I'll be right back. Just let me grab something to drink, and then when I get back, we'll talk about this market. But man, oh man, $82,000. Are you serious? I wonder who was bearish. All right, I wonder who was bearish when the price of Bitcoin was retesting $90,000. All right, who was bearish? Who was bearish when the price of Bitcoin was retesting $90,000? And who said that was a trap? Oh, I forgot. It is right here. All right, it is right here, guys. So hopefully you continue to watch these live streams. Hopefully you continue to watch my update. I promise you, we are going to keep it real. We are going to keep it honest. But give me a second, guys. Let me grab some drink, and then when I come back, we'll talk about this one signal that is going to confirm in the next 48 hours, actually, next 24 hours, because tomorrow we get a monthly close, and this signal is predicting the Bitcoin is going straight down to $65,000. So give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. All right. So, let's get to it. All right, let's talk about it. Let me talk about it, man. Oh my gosh, we just lost 82,000. Yeah, it's looking bad out there. All right, people. Here we go. All right, people. Here we go. Let me go to the monthly. Just give me a second. I am right here. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about the signal. What is the signal? What are you talking about? Right? What am I talking about? What is this signal that has been accurate throughout Bitcoin's existence that is now predicting a $65,000 Bitcoin? All right, what is it? What is it? All right, let's talk about it. So, let's do it. Bitcoin is going to $65,000 in the next couple months based on this signal that is about to confirm in the next 24 hours. This signal right here has been 100% accurate throughout Bitcoin's entire existence. Right? This signal right here, guys, has never, ever, ever been wrong. So, what exactly am I talking about? What I'm talking about is every time the price of Bitcoin lose its 21 monthly moving average, we go straight down to retest the 50 monthly moving average. And right now, in the next 24 hours, we are going to have a monthly close. And this, we have already lost the 21 monthly moving average, right? This is going to be our first monthly close below the 21 EMA since the beginning of this bull market. And throughout Bitcoin's entire existence, guys, every time we have closed below the 21 monthly, the price of Bitcoin has retested the 50 monthly moving average. And right now, the 50 monthly is exactly at $65,000. So based on this signal, my prediction is that over the next couple months, the price of Bitcoin is going to retest the 50 monthly moving average. And that, my friends, is more likely to put us somewhere around $65,000. Let's back test it. Let's go back to the last bear market. So if you go back to the last bear market, Bitcoin lost its 21 monthly around $37,000. And guess what? We went straight down to retest the 50 monthly, which was around $26,000. And of course, the price of Bitcoin didn't just stop right there. We continued down to $15,000. You go back to 2019. 2019, we lose the 21 monthly moving average, around $7,200. Bitcoin goes straight down to retest the 50 monthly, around $5,600. And of course, we didn't just stop there. We ended up down to around $3,800. All right. Let's go back to 2018. In 2018, Bitcoin lose its 21 monthly moving average, around $6,000. And guess what? We go straight down to retest the 50 monthly, around $3,900. And shortly after that, we finally put in the bottom around $3,100. Let's go back to, prior to 2018. In 2014, September 2014, we lose the 21 monthly moving average, around $400. And guess what? Price of Bitcoin straight down. All right. Now, of course, at the time, we don't have the 50 moving average because, we just don't have enough data. But as you guys can clearly see, the 50 monthly is around $228. So I am going to assume that if this line would have extended all the way back here, we would have retested the 50 monthly somewhere around $200. Now, of course, price of Bitcoin didn't just stop at the 50 monthly, goes all the way down to around $152. So you can clearly see that this is a signal that is 100% accurate, has been 100% accurate throughout Bitcoin's entire existence. All right? Throughout Bitcoin's entire existence, guys. Every time we have lost a 21 monthly moving average, the price of Bitcoin has always retested the 50 monthly moving average. Now, doesn't mean that it has to play out again, but this is a game of probabilities. And based on the probabilities, we are more likely to retest the 50 monthly moving average sometimes over the next couple of months. And that, my friends, puts the price of Bitcoin around $65,000. I'm not saying $65,000 is going to be the low of the bear market. chances are we go below the 50 monthly. But as of right now, you are looking at a Bitcoin that goes straight down to the 50 monthly moving average, and that puts the price of Bitcoin around $65,000. Now, you may say, hey, that's a moving average. Maybe by the time we get there, instead of $65,000, we could potentially be around 70,000. And you are absolutely right. But guess what? My prediction is not so much on $65,000. I am looking at a retest of the 50 monthly moving average. And as of right now, it sits at $65,000. Right? Right now, it is $65,000. Maybe by the time we retest the 50, we could be around $67,000, probably $69,000. Who knows? But my expectation is not that, we only retest the 50. I believe price goes lower, or I think price goes below the 50 monthly moving average. But this is a signal that has 100% hit accurate. So I gotta take it very serious. Right? I got to take it very serious. Now, in terms of, just looking at the structure of this market, if you are still in the camp that this is a normal pullback, I mean, honestly, like, I don't know. I don't know how to help you, and I don't know how to have, a conversation. Like, I don't know how to have that conversation with you right now, because, I mean, it's clear. It's honestly just right in front of you. There is nothing about this that looks like a normal pullback. Right? There is nothing when you look at the chart of Bitcoin that suggests that this is a normal pullback. And, when you are just looking at, BTC on the daily, chat, you see this trend line right here? This is going to be a major, major, major resistance. At some point, we might break above it. But then when you go to the weekly, and you go from the top, when you go from right here, $126,000, and you connect it to right here, this is the one that you have to worry about. If you think the price, if you think Bitcoin is back in the bull market, just make sure, price is on the other side of this yellow line. Until then, it is a long, long bear market. 2026, it is not bullish at all. Nothing is suggests to me that 2026 is going to be positive. In terms of, opportunities, like, this is exactly what you should wish for. If you are someone who is looking to build a long-term Bitcoin position, you don't want to be a buyer at $100,000. You want to be a buyer in the $70,000 range, $60,000, $50,000. Right? You don't want the price to continue to go up, if you don't have a big position. And we're not just talking about Bitcoin. We are talking about, the entire market. Like, if you are truly interested in extraordinary profits, where most of your investment goes up 5x, 10x, like, this right here is an amazing opportunity. I'm not saying you go buy right now, but what I'm saying to you is you sit on the sideline. Let price go lower. Right? Let the price of Bitcoin go back to 70,000. Let altcoins drop 95, 99%. Like, let these things reset. Let these indicators completely reset. And then there's going to be a time where you can build a meaningful position going into the next bull market. And maybe your entry goes from 50,000, after the bull market. And if the price of Bitcoin doubles its previous all-time highs, that puts us somewhere around, all right, $250,000, $260,000. So this is an amazing opportunity long term, but it's not in the short term. In the short term, I mean, this is bad, man. This is just terrible. All right, terrible, terrible, terrible. Personally, I wouldn't touch Bitcoin. I wouldn't touch any of these altcoins, and we'll have to be patient until late 2026 or mid 2026, and then depending on how these charts start looking like, then we can talk about accumulation. But right now, it's a brutal bear market, and might as well just stay on the sideline. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time, I am going to ask you to hit that subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if this is your first time right here. We will keep this going. I do have some time. I got about 40 more minutes. So this is not stopping anytime soon. But this market is looking terrible. Right? I don't see a bullish market. Absolutely not. I don't see a reason to be a buyer. Some of you guys may be dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin because you have a long-term outlook. But look, I respect that. But even that, yeah, I prefer just to sit on the sideline. Allow price to go much, much lower. So let's talk about kind of the short-term outlook. So if you go to I'm on the 1 hour right now, and the structure is actually very simple. And I don't know why people are trying to, fight the trend. Like, this is a downtrend right here. It's very consistent. What you continue to get is lower lows and lower highs. So why are people looking at this and, trying to fight the trend? I don't get it. Right? I'm on the 1 hour. What I'm seeing right here is lower lows and lower highs. When you go to the 4 hour time frame, well, what do we have? Lower lows and lower highs. I'm not expecting I'm not expecting a straight line. Like, I'm not expecting Bitcoin to go from 90,000 straight down to 80,000 without some sort of a recovery. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. Even if we pump all the way back to like 86,000, but guess what? That gives you a lower high, and then you go back down. You're more likely to take out the lows right here, 80,000, 81,000, and then you might get another rally, put in another lower high, and then price continues down. Right? The trend is your friend. Like, that is, very consistent. And when you overlay your EMAs. I always say this. When the price is below your moving averages, don't try to be a hero. Right? Honestly, do not try to be a hero. And every time price comes anywhere closer to your EMAs, in my case, I'm looking at my 21 and my 50. Blue line is my 21. The 50 is my green line. Every time I see something like this where price is closer to my moving average, my prediction is always the move to the upside is most likely over. Even if we may go a little above it, my outlook is always the move is most likely over, and this is a good time to short it. And we more likely are looking at the beginning of another leg down. That's exactly what has played out, throughout this entire downtrend. So, trying to be bullish right here is really just like, this is trying to, like, how do I put it? All right, trying to be bullish right here is trying to be different when you don't need to. All right, it's trying to prove a point when you don't need to, because in these markets, the number one rule is the trend is your friend. Right? And in my opinion, the trend is not just your friend. It is actually your best friend. right? So there's no way, even on the 1 hour, there's no way I look at BTC right here, guys. Like after, and we talked about this, like this is not bullish at all. When you see a consolidation like this is not bullish at all. Chat, I promise you, throughout the entire bull market, there was never a consolidation like this. Every consolidation was more like this. Like what you had was maybe like a bullish wage. What you had was maybe like an ascending triangle, something that looked like this, where price, consolidated like this, and then you had a breakout and then boom, or price consolidated like this, and then you had a breakout and then boom. But I don't think, we ever got a consolidation where it was, a bear flag or some sort of other bearish patterns. All right, not like this, man. All right, on the 1 hour, you can clearly see like this was not looking good. And the moment price, breaks your support, and then you get a rally right here, and then you have your EMAs already. You have a death cross where your short-term moving average are now below your long-term moving average. Like that's a recipe for disaster. Oops. That's a recipe for disaster, man. And I don't know why. You got like very smart analysis out there who are looking at BTC and, still are trying to convince themselves that this is a bullish market. Like, absolutely not, man. Like, this sucks right here. Look, every time we get to the moving average, we just get rejected. We might even push above and go to like 84,000, but guess what? More likely anywhere around here, we top and then we continue the downside. And remember, these EMAs, like this is, I look at this as a momentum indicator. So, the bigger the gap between the two moving averages, to me, that's just the strength of whoever's in control of the market. So if the bulls are in control of the market, that means the bulls are, looking very, very strong. If the bears are in control of the market, in this case, which they are, that to me means, full strength is with the bears. So why try to fight the trend? Why trying to come up with other reason to be bullish on a market that is clearly not bullish? Like this is not looking good right here. And then when you zoom out, like this is where, I told you guys recently, we had a div cross on the weekly for the very first time since the last bear market. Chat, the last time we had something like that, you got to go back to April of 2022. The 21 weekly moving average goes below the 50 weekly. And that was, I don't want to say the beginning, but pretty much the beginning of this acceleration to the downside. So to me, like this is the beginning of the acceleration to the downside. And you shouldn't be surprised, when you get the type of price action that you are getting right now. This is not looking good, man. Very soon, I think we're going to slice through 80,000. I don't even think, like, to really be honest with you guys, 74,000, I don't even think that's going to hold. Like, I think we're going to drop all the way down into the 60s. Like, we might not get anything in terms of some sort of a rally until the price is somewhere around here in this range, guys. Like, to me, I'm pretty much very interested in, $65,000 before we get some sort of a weekly dead cat bounce, because we just had one right here. So I don't think, we come to like 74,000 and then we get a bounce again. I don't see that playing out. I think we drop all the way down here and then we might get a day cat bounce, and then, maybe we go just a little bit and then the bottom of the bear market is in, and then we start going up again. Like, I think this is how this might play out over the next couple of months. We might even drop all the way down to around $49,000, before we get some sort of a weekly day cap bounce. I do believe, the bear market lows might come in. Like if I'm looking at the weekly, right? My 200 weekly moving average is right now around $68,000. So I do think price will drop just right below that. So looking at this $50,000 range, like we might just come back right here. I'm not sure we go down in the 30s or the low 40s, but who knows, right? But it's just not looking good. Right? That's the part that you just need to understand right now. Like this is not looking good at all, guys. Absolutely not. Polkadot, RIP. I mean, look, it's not just Polkadot. Every single one of these projects. And this is why, this is why when I'm live streaming and I'm looking at these altcoins, it looks like this is a good time to be a buyer based on, just looking at the chart. It looks like a bunch of these altcoins are retesting, historical support. When you look at these charts, you may be thinking to yourself, surely they can't go any lower. But the truth is, they are going to go lower. All right. And instead of trying to catch a falling knife, just wait on the sideline. Like we're not here to try to catch the absolute bottom of the bear market, right? What we are trying to, aim at is getting involved early in an uptrend. Now when the market is in a long-term downtrend, right? Chat, you don't want to be a buyer when the market is in a downtrend and when you have lower lows and lower highs and lower lows on the weekly and monthly. I'm telling you, you don't want to be a buyer, man. You do not want a dollar cost average. Never, ever. And I've talked about this in all of my live streams. You never, ever dollar cost average in a market that looks like this on the higher time frame. Like, do not dollar cost average. A lot of influencers, what they're going to say to you is, hey, dollar cost average. This is a great opportunity. It's already down 80%. Who cares, man? It's down 80%. It's going to drop another 80%. It's down 90%. It's going to drop another 90%. Right? The goal is not to capture the bottom. The goal is to wait for the bottom to come in. All right? Wait for the trend to reverse. And then once you see something like this, all right, the goal is to jump in early on in the trend. Who cares if you miss the first 80% move? Who cares if you miss the first 100% move? I know what some of you guys may be thinking. I don't want to miss the first 100% move. Guys, look, nobody cares, man. I'll give you an example using Solana. You could have missed the first 100% rally and you could have done really well. Solana's last bear market, the lows were $8. Guys, you didn't have to be a buyer below $10. Right? You could have bought Solana at $20 after a 100% rally, and you still would have done really well. All right? From like $21, $22, $25, all right, you could have done a 10x, man, and you could have taken profits at the previous all-time high. Your entry didn't have to be at the absolute lows of the bear market. Right? Because in the $20 range, all right, the uptrend, the reversal was already clear. Like I remember when Solana was breaking above my 21 weekly, exactly around $20, and I became extremely bullish on Solana. But throughout this entire, just nonsense, like I was extremely bearish. I didn't know what to make of it. But once we, had this move, pullback, higher low, another move, pullback, higher low, another move, pullback, higher low, I was like, okay, this is the time to jump into Solana. This is the time to be a buyer. I did exactly the same thing with Jasmine. I don't know how many of you guys used to watch my streams and my Jasmine updates. I was predicting 30 cents. Never got anywhere around 30 cents. But guess what? Still did an 18x. Right? I was buying Jasmine right here. Throughout this entire drop, I was extremely bearish on Jasmine. But the moment we started doing this right here, the moment we started breaking above, EMAs on the weekly, I became extremely bullish on Jasmine. So you could have bought Jasmine somewhere around here in the threes or even in the fours, even in the fives. Like you could have bought Jasmine there, and you could have got a 10x. You didn't have to get in at the absolute lows of the bear market. So this is what I am trying to accomplish with my audience. You guys that are watching my content, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. What I've done, with many of these altcoins is to tell you exactly how I see it. You don't have to do anything. Stay on the sideline. Right? Stay on the sideline. Be patient. Those that are going to perform well, you are going to have the opportunity to get in early in the trend, and you are going to be able to make some great profits. You can miss that first 80%, 100% rallies. Perfectly fine, guys. Who cares? If it's early in the trend and the token goes on to perform well, you are going to do well. You didn't have to buy Bitcoin at $15,000. You could have bought Bitcoin at $22,000 when the weekly confirmed, the new uptrend, and you could have done really well. So let me talk about Polkadot, because I repeat Polkadot, but not just Polkadot. I repeat all these altcoins. So if I'm looking at Polkadot on the weekly, why would you want to be a buyer? I'm not talking to you specifically, and I'm not saying that you are getting in, but anyone that's looking at Polkadot right now, like, why would you want to be a buyer? This is a project, chat. You think it's already down and it can't go down anymore? Yo, I promise you, Polkadot can go down another 90%. Like, this is how bad this thing is. If we don't hold these lows right here, it's just bad, man. What if Polkadot comes back to refill this wick right here? That's 97 cents, right? So if you go from right here all the way down to 97 cents, this is a 40% drop on a project that is already down 90+%. All right. Look, one thing that I'm always very proud of is the fact that I have been extremely bearish on altcoins throughout these last many months, man. And even when the price was going up, I have always said, hey, you got to be cautious. You got to be cautious because, the higher trend is just not there. And honestly, looking at something like a Polkadot, like, I don't want to be that person, but if we didn't do anything in this last in the last bull market, like, wouldn't that be the end of this project? Honestly, guys, this is a project that traded around $55 in the 2021 bull market. So we come into the 23-25 bull market. It goes from $3 to $11. And then, early 2026, we are still in January. We in January 2026. It's already at $1.70. Like, is there really a future for this project? Probably not. But who knows, though? I'm not here to say that Polkadot may not experience another bull market, but you got to be careful out there. Looks like the market is recovering, but let me be very clear. Do not get carried away by, even if every single one of these projects goes up 100%, this weekly and monthly setup is just not going to change. Like, it takes time, to, I think this is the part that just people just don't get this part. For us to reverse the weekly and monthly, like, you are talking about a good 12 to 12 months of work. We got to have to, like, break some really, really tough structures. And it's going to take time. It's going to take, for 3 months, price goes up. You might get another 3 months of price coming back down. So that's 6 months already. You might get another 3 months. Price goes back to retest the same level. You get another 3 months where price, now the uptrend is trying to be more established. And then you might get another 3 months where price comes back to give you a higher low. So that, you're looking at 12 to 18 months. If you think about the last bull market, guys, like the beginning of, reestablishing the uptrend, you go from sometimes late 2022 until, October 2023. Right? If you think about it, right? So if you look at what is Solana, I use Solana because it's just a great example, at least TA wise. So when you think about Solana on the weekly, let me get rid of this right here. When you think about Solana on the weekly, guys, this is the work. Like, this is the work to reestablish the uptrend. We go from, this is the low right here. The low is put in, sometimes around December 2022. But the work is right here. The work starts from June until October of 2023, because here is when price gives you a rally. This is the last lower high before this drop right here. And then here you go up, and then you get another pullback, and then here we take out the previous lows, and then you get the pullback, and then price goes up a little bit, you get another pullback, and then we go up. All right. So from June 2022 until October, like that's 12, 18 months. Okay. Even if it's not June 2022, let's just say it's from November of 2022 when we put in the January 2023 when we it's actually December 2022 when we put in the absolute lows of the bear market. Like, we don't establish the uptrend until October of 2023, which is right here. So think about that, guys. That is 10 months. That is how long it takes, to reverse a bearish weekly setup, a bearish monthly setup. And for a bunch of these other altcoins, like, you are looking at just, probably even more. So, yeah, it's not looking good. Thanks for your videos, fella, being here since the beginning. Shocking you not. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I gotta get to 10K again. I gotta get to 10K again, guys. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for watching these live streams. Once again, look, we're not here to be liked. We're not here to feed the agenda and, get on the same page as everyone else. What we are here to do is, just look at the market and call it exactly what it is. It doesn't mean that we are going to be right all the time. We are going to get a lot of stuff wrong. When I was looking at Solana, I was predicting $300. I was predicting $500. I was predicting $1,000. Right? But those are predictions, based on a weekly, monthly uptrend. Because when you have these bigger time frames uptrend, price can go way, way up, and especially when you get a parabolic move. Think about silver, guys. I analyzed silver around $30, and my prediction was $50, and of course price will go higher. But guess what? I had no idea, silver would push all the way up to $120. Because if I knew, I would have bought silver at $30. Because look at these profits right here, guys. I jump in at $30, I cash out almost a 300% gain. The truth is, you never know how high these things will go. But when you get a parabolic move, especially in the cryptocurrency market, a market that we are very, very familiar with, and we know how crazy crypto gets. Chat, this is a bull market where there was no I don't think we saw any maybe we did. Did we get some sort of euphoria? Probably, right? During the crazy altcoin meme coin season, things kind of got crazy with Bonk. And remember the guy that turned like 17,000 into like $40 million, and then some other guys turned like a few $1,000s into like millions and millions. I guess that was the euphoria, but it wasn't the entire altcoin market. So when I was looking at Solana, I really thought we were going to blast above $266, and we were going to push all the way up into the $500, $1,000 range. All right. Yeah, and I wasn't the only person that was predicting those targets. Someone else was predicting $2,000 Solana. Remember, there was a prediction of a $20,000 Ethereum. I was predicting a $10,000 Ethereum. But guess what? We barely broke above the last all-time high. But anyways, let's do a proper, TA because I only got about 20 more minutes. Yeah, let's do some proper TA on these altcoins right here. So they're just not looking good, man. They are not looking good. Once again, look, do not be fooled because in the short term, some of these stuff kind of are going up. This is a little bounce because look how extremely oversold this market is in the short term. So yeah, if I'm looking at Solana, this is the 1 hour, so I'm looking at 118. Solana's coming up against a major resistance, but yeah, I don't think we accomplish anything. I don't think Solana goes above 128. I think 128 is a major resistance. So whatever we do, I think it ends, I don't know, somewhere around the low 120s, and then we are going to continue down. I wouldn't be surprised if we go up to 122 maybe. Let me bring up some EMAs to kind of help me. So yeah, we might push up to somewhere around here probably, and then we go down. Let me see if we have any, kind of bullish divergences. So if I'm looking at this, do we have? I don't think so. Does this probably, right? You have the 1, 2. I like this right here where you have the 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. What I mean by that is you have kind of 3 touches to your trend line. That is normally a very good place to, to kind of be a buyer because you tend to get some positive reaction. So yeah, I don't know if this is. Let me see the MACD. Do we have Okay, yeah, probably, right? It looks like we have some bullish divergency. So price is kind of going up right now, but I don't think we'll do anything surprising, honestly. I think 126, 128 in the short term is a major resistance. If we can get above 128, do I think we? Yeah, probably not. I think this is. Yeah, 128 is major. But if we can get above 128, though, your next major resistance becomes 147. I don't think Solana goes above 147. That, to me, getting above 147 will probably have me change my mind in terms of some of my downside price targets. Yeah, that would definitely change my mind. So, I don't think we go anywhere. I actually think, look, we're about to get a weekly close, right? This is already not looking good. So I actually think, how many more days? Today is Friday, right? We got 2 more days before we close this week. So yeah, we might close, somewhere around even below $110, to be very honest with you guys. But let's see how this all plays out. And then, of course, you have MicroStrategy. Remember I talked about MicroStrategy? My prediction was that we were more likely we're going to come back down and retest. I mean, we actually just did that basically. Retest 145. So when we had this drop, I wasn't worried at all because that was basically my outlook on it. I like, structurally, I like the look of this. You have some bullish divergency right here. Look at my trend line. The RSI bounced exactly right off my trend line. So what I'm going to say is this. If it goes any lower, then I have to, go back and reanalyze this. Then I will have to kind of just exit this out. My thinking has always been that we were due for a nice weekly bounce, okay? And I'm basically looking at a retest of the 21 weekly moving average. Right now, you're looking at around $216. So between this 200, 230, I think this is a box of interest. If we don't get a weekly rally, I'm really going to be disappointed, to be very honest with you guys, because this is not a rally. This is not a rally right here. I was expecting something, and even the look of it, I was expecting something much bigger than this. But anyways, when you look to the left, I mean, there's really no support until, I mean, this entire range, you can say this is a support, but you're basically looking at $100. So my other outlook is that if we don't get the rally right here, we may just dump all the way back to $100, and then we may get the rally from here, and that may bring us up to retest, maybe like $200, and then, we get another pullback. The thing about MicroStrategy is this, guys. I think the bottom is going to come in somewhere around 85 or just somewhere below $100. I think that's where the bottom of this bear market is going to be. So I just don't get how, if the bottom is going to be somewhere around there, I don't see how we continue down without first like a big weekly rally where we put in a big weekly lower high and then we dump straight after. So when I look at this chart right here, my opinion is that like you basically looking at the final drop, after this right here, I think you're looking at the final drop. And I'm actually like, I have been comparing the current price action to this right here, where price was around $32 and we had this massive rally, and then the next drop, this was basically the final drop right here. And of course, you had another pullback where we put in a double bottom. But when you look at this right here, if we can push up and then we come back down, I'm not saying we get exactly the same, the same type of bear market, but I just think, it makes sense. I mean, look, the market will do whatever the market decides to do. But I just think it kind of makes some sense, going up and then you get a big drop and then you go up and then there's going to be some pullbacks, of course. And then, we kind of build the structure for the next bull market. So, let's just kind of see how this plays out. But to me, the look of what we have right now, to me, this looks very bullish. Like, to be very honest with you. Yes, price action is very ugly. But what I'm more interested in is the structure. Right? When I look at this right here, to me, this looks really good. Now, I think if we go back below 140, that won't be good. I think that will be something that I will have to look at, and I will have no other choice but to, reanalyze, what could potentially be playing out. Anyways, so let's talk about the lower time. Maybe I just spent too much time on this one. But anyways, if I'm looking at the lower time, like I actually already like what I'm seeing here. We are already breaking some structures on the lower time. Breaking above 145, that was really good. So right now, I need to see a pullback, to give me another higher low. I don't want to lose 139. I'll say in the short term, I definitely don't want to lose this. And what I would also like to see, I need to see us retaking the 200 moving average on the 15 minutes. But not only on the 15 minutes, on the 1 hour, guys. Like the 1 hour, the 200 EMA is around 145. I want to get above that again. If we can get above that again, then I think we'll have a really good chance of coming back into this box right here. So that was MicroStrategy. Let's take a look at CleanSpark and Mara. CleanSpark should be easy and straightforward. So CleanSpark, what we don't want to lose is we do not want to. Actually, look, this does not look bad. So this pullback doesn't look bad to me. Let me get rid of these two right here. So as long as we stay above $10, like to me, this looks really good. And then I will have to put a trend line right here. All right, put a trend line right there. So, and then you put another one like this. So right now, I mean, I don't know what to make of this. We don't want to go below 10. The moment, I mean, I'm just looking at the trend line, all right, 1080. All right, hopefully if price comes down here, we get a bounce. If not, we just don't want to go below $10 because that would basically invalidate what we are trying to establish right here. Now, if price can break above 14.50, then you're more likely, or we are more likely, heading back into the $20 range. So as of right now, like I really don't know what to make of this. I need to see the reaction down here and the reaction up here. If we go down to let's go to the 1 hour. So if I'm on the 1 hour, right here, once again, taking out some support. So yeah, kind of looking at this 1080 support. So let's see if we go down to retest that. If we can break above this 14 whatever, then you're looking at a really good shot of going all the way back up here. Also, when you go to the daily, guys, look, price is very close to my 200 moving average. To me, I am a big fan of staying above the 200. Like I really don't like when whatever I'm interested in is below the 200 moving average. Like I want the price to be above the 200. And if that is the case, I'm always very positive. So that was clean spark. Now Mara looks very ugly though. So Mara has got some work to do. If I'm looking at Mara right here, I wouldn't touch Mara. I think there's way better looking miners than Mara right here. But if I'm looking at Mara, what we want is price to stay above, $8.97. All right, that would be my kind of outlook on it. You can say, okay, what we have right here, could this be a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern? All right, that's still to be seen. We will need to bounce first. If we can bounce here, let's say we get two daily candles that are green. Let's say price goes back to $10. I think the case for a potential inverse head and shoulder pattern will be very strong, and you definitely want to be a buyer with a stop loss just right below $9.33. So that's one way to look at this. But the reason I'm not a fan of Mara, guys, is just, look, man, my 200 dailies right here. And we don't just have a 200 daily that's up here. Like, this is a declining, all right, this is a declining 200 moving average. Like, I'm telling you right now, I do not like this right here. I prefer other stuff. I prefer something like an iron, even though price has moved up. Like, you've gone from 33 back to 60 and now a little pull back to 54. But I like this. All right. Look, when you analyze with price above the 200, you are more likely to do very well. You could have captured iron around 9 and you would have ride it all the way up into the $70 range. Look, price above the 200 EMA. Anyways, Coinbase. Let's talk about Coinbase. Coinbase, not looking good. This is just bad, man. When you zoom out and you look at Coinbase, you are looking at a retest, or hopefully not. Like, we don't want to lose 146. All right, we do not want to lose $146. Coinbase. Once you lose $146, guys, you could potentially buy Coinbase around $70. If we lose 146, this is how bad this is. So when I look at this weekly right here, it's better to stay on the sideline. All right, it is better to stay on the sideline. There is not an indication that we are putting in any sort of a bottom. All right. Looking at weekly MACD, weekly RSI, do I see any bullish divergences? Absolutely not. So I don't like it. When you go to the daily, do we have bullish divergency? Absolutely not. All right. Do we have some? Okay. How are we looking? All right. I'm looking at MACD. Okay. Maybe you can make a case that this is potentially, bullish divergency. But guess what, guys? We took out the lows. See how we kind of took out these lows right here. So I don't know how I feel about that. You look at RSI, also took out the lows, oversold right now, but maybe we get a bounce. But anyways, look, doesn't even matter though. In the short term, look, can we get a bounce? Probably on the daily. I'm looking at this support right here. But personally, I wouldn't rush to be a buyer. I will wait until we get some sort of a bounce. So I'll give you an example. You see how we kind of got a bounce right here. If you look back right here, guys, bullish divergence, you can clearly see. Bullish divergence, you can clearly see right here. And not only that, we had an inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. Left shoulder, right shoulder, and this is the neck right here. So at least, wait until you get something like this. And if you don't want to wait on the daily because you might miss a big chunk of the move, that's perfectly fine. Go down to, the 4 hour or go down to the 1 hour. If you would have went down to the 4 hour, I mean, this would have been the same thing basically. You would have jumped in around 208 from 147, or you can go down to the 1 hour. The 1 hour may give you an early entry. So 1 hour right here, guys. We we had a triple bottom. So 1, 2, 3. So you could have jumped in around 160. So if we're looking at the 1 hour right here, the question is, do we have any sort of a bottom? We don't. All right. We need to see something like this where price goes up, give us a comeback, a pullback, higher low, go up again, and then you look for some entries somewhere around here. Look, regardless anyway, look, if you are looking for a bullish entry, it may not be until the price is in the $200 range. I promise you. Like, below $200, you just won't get anything unless you rush into a position. But if that is the case, then you are catching a falling knife, which is not, it's not ideally basically. Anyways, man, the market is having a hard time, but none of us should be surprised. If you ask me, none of us should be surprised, man. Yo, chat, hit the subscribe, hit the like, and I can't lie to you guys. You are going to have to be really, really patient. But what I would say is this. You see stuff like Coinbase, put this in your watch list. Coinbase, MicroStrategy, whatever else that you like, put it on your watch list. Continue to monitor on a monthly basis. There's going to be a time where it's going to make sense to be a buyer. Right now, it's not that time. But when it does make sense to be a buyer, I promise you, it's going to be one of the greatest decisions that you make. Because you are going to be able to turn a few $1,000s into tens of thousands of dollars and potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. Wow. What I would say is this. Silver is an opportunity right now, not because of anything else, but simply because, the bigger trend is up, and this is just a crazy, crazy drop. I promise you we're going to retrace this entire drop. Like, we're going to pump. All right? Like, this is just, silver is trading like a meme coin. Like, this is insane. If I was looking at silver right now, I would definitely be a buyer. All right. It may go down lower. Like, who knows where the bottom is. But, give it a couple more, I don't want to say weeks. Let's give it a couple more months. You're most likely coming back to $118. So, I think there's an opportunity here for a potential 40% move. So, I'll say silver looks really good to me. Why does it look good? Once again, look, if you're on the daily, the fact that the price is still above $70, that is already a good thing. Below $70, that kind of breaks the trend. When you go to the weekly, look, the weekly wouldn't turn bearish until price is below $45. The monthly wouldn't turn bearish. I mean, you don't want to wait for the monthly because by then, might as well just hold on to your silver. The uptrend, starts all the way back to around like $18, or you can say $26 right here. But yeah, this looks really good. I do think this is a good time to add on to your position. If I'm looking at gold, also another great buy opportunity. But your altcoins, your crypto, yeah, be careful. Be careful out there. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Look, I think I'm gonna live stream. Do I? No, I don't think so. I was gonna say I'm gonna live stream again later today, but yeah, probably not. But I'm really, really trying to live stream as much as I can because, I gotta build this channel back up. Hopefully, we get to a couple thousand subscribers by. I mean, who knows? In 2026, hopefully, I get some love from just people who, recognize the value of this content and just, appreciate the fact that, we are here for real, and this is not, this is not a drill, and this is not a game, and this is not a moon boy that only talks about how Bitcoin is going to hit these crazy targets, and you know when the regime change, when the structure is no longer bullish, they continue to talk about how bullish the market is. Anyways, appreciate you guys. We just did an hour and an hour 5 minutes. I think that's more than enough. If I do live stream again today, I might do it later. If not, definitely live streaming tomorrow. And yeah, let's keep it going. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully you smash the like button. Hopefully you subscribed if you haven't already. And I'll see you. I'll see you either tonight or tomorrow.